A very good afternoon from wherever you're watching as from. This is Trending News. It is exactly 4 p.m. East African time. Nelima here, ready to bring you stories that are trending and making conversations at this hour. The hashtag is Trending News, and you can catch this live broadcast at Lookup TV on Twitter, Lookup TV on Facebook, and Lookup TV on our YouTube channel. Let's begin. Residents in Bungoma are currently voting for their next member of Senate Assembly in a poll that has attracted 11 candidates. The exercise is characterized by low voter turnout attributed to voter apathy. Polling stations are expected to close in about an hour for the tallying process to start. Let's take a look.
Too early to tell about turnout. Since 5 a.m. made calls to almost every ward, every constituency. The indications are that agents are in place, mobilizers are in place, and I'm sure in the course of the day we will have a reasonable turnout. Where I have voted, we can't quite judge because it's very early. Remember, this is a by-election of only 1 out of the 6 elections in a general election. So the levels of mobilization are likely to be different from a general election where an MCA is mobilizing, an MP is mobilizing, a women rep is mobilizing, a senator is mobilizing, governor is doing the same, the presidential agents are doing the same. This is only for the senator, and the levels of preparedness will determine the levels of turnout, and I think that having a feel of what has been going on in Bungoma, there has been very vigorous and spirited campaigns. I have no doubt whatsoever that the turnout could slightly exceed 50%, which is good in a by-election.
And those are pictures earlier from Bungoma. Of course, the senatorial elections ongoing, and the story that we are keeping an eye on will be giving you details when the results start streaming in. Moving on, parents have been urged to stay vigilant during the long holidays and watch out for the children, since the cases of HIV infections, gender-based violence and teenage pregnancies are on the rise in Kenya.
Serikali sasa hivi inaeleza wananchi hasa vijana the challenges or the threats, tunaita triple threats. Mojawapo ya triple threats ni mambo ya ukimwi, HIV AIDS, ambayo trends in the last 10 years tumeanza kuona kama tayari maambukizi yanaanza kuwa juu. Jambo la pili ni gender based violence, ambayo tunapata migogoro katika majamii. La tatu ni mambo ya female genital mutilation, ambayo tunaita FGM, and early pregnancy. You know, these are things that they go together. Watoto kuolewa ama kuozwa kwa wasichana kabla ya wakati. Tungependa tu kupendekezea kushauri wazazi, wakati huu kaa na mtoto wako. Hakikisha mtoto amefanya kazi nyumbani. Jua mtoto wako yuko wapi, wakati gani. Maana kutokana na kutojali kwa mambo ya malezi ya mtoto wako, atajipata amejitwika urafiki na watoto ambao labda wana tabia mbaya, marafiki ambao labda ni walevi, wengine wanatumia madawa za kulevya, na hivyo basi inafanya watoto hawa kujipata katika hali ambayo itawaweka kufanya kuambukizwa na HIV.
Away from that, a section of clinical psychologists have taken to the streets of Nairobi following an alleged delay in factoring in their allowances worth 180 million Kenya shillings for 2 years now. The 114 clinical psychologists employed by Public Service Commission in August 2020 were deployed to the Ministry of Health immediately and were subjected to basic salaries and clinical health allowances to facilitate their working in the COVID-19 HDU and ICU isolation centers in the 47 counties.
when the psychologists were employed by the PSC, they were employed as clinical psychologist 1, but 2 months after the employment, their cadre changed, and now they are named counselors 2, and some were administrative assistants initially from the initial pay slips. We have been following up for almost 3 years now, following up on the payment of our allowances, which has now accumulated to 180 million and counting, and we still don't have our right cadre. We've done this process, we have done our due diligence, visiting all offices from SRC to the PSC, Ombudsman, Labor, and now we have reached to this point. We are calling on the President to come and listen to us and hear our plea. We are calling on the Deputy President, who is passionate about youth, who is passionate about mental health and public service, so that these people can resume their work and continue providing mental health services in all the 47 counties. We are only a few here, but we were employed 114 of us on August 2020. And now the process has been hindered, and we have received threats, insults, and intimidation from the office of from the Director of Human Resource.
Education Permanent Secretary Bello Kipsang risks facing civil jail term if the Ministry of Regional Development fails to pay 83 million Kenya shillings to NK Brothers Limited Company within 30 days. The 83 million shillings arose from a disputed contract between the then Ministry of Regional Development and NK Brothers Limited for the construction of Lake Basin Development Authority headquarters complex and housing in Kisumu.
I know there is a process of supplementary budget that is going on now. I think it will only be fair if the person that is taking over from myself, we are able to adequately sit down. I know in the transitional document that I've given to him, this is fair that I bring him to the attention and the stage at which these are strict, so that we can, as we prepare to do a supplementary budget in government in January, then this becomes a critical part of that. And I think what we shall request, and I think that is for council, really not for me, is that we can give time to ourselves. You can allow us that I do this transitional work to my colleague who is taking it up, so that he can be able to appreciate the urgency of what we need to deal with. I think that's what I can request from this court as of now.
And stakeholders in West Pokot have raised alarm over cases of hiding and discriminating persons living with disabilities in West Pokot County. An assessment done by World Vision in 4 locations of Alale Ward in August 2022 shows that more than 200 disabled children have been hidden and have not accessed education. This has been occasioned by traditional cultural beliefs, where many people living with disabilities are seen as a bad omen in the society.
The national government and the county government have put in place to ensure that those people living with disabilities are getting to school. For example, there are bursaries. I know that this is the period that the county government is still transitioning, and I know by January or by when the school will open, the bursaries will be there.
Tunaona watoto wengi na hii shule haina watoto. Tunataka mwaka mpya ikianza tu hivi, tunataka watoto waingie kwa hii madarasa. Watoto waingie. Head teacher ako hapa amesomea masomo maalum ya kuhudumia hawa watoto. Kwa hivyo ni mzuri sana watoto waletwe, wazazi.
And to some sporting action, Nyahururu-based athletes held their end-of-year prayers day Kamlanchion at Ngomongo PCA Church grounds. According to branch chairman Francis Kamau, the event was meant to celebrate some of the athletes who made a mark in various meetings both in the country and globally. The prayer meeting was meant to help the athletes reflect on their achievements, challenges and expectations. It was organized by the Kenya Athletics Kenya Nyandarua branch, bringing together over 200 athletes.
Mwaka wakati tunafuga mwaka tunasherehekea a few performances zile tume witness kutoka kwa wanariadha wetu. Kana kwamba wakati wa trial za World na Africa, world na Commonwealth, hata Afrika, tulikuwa na watu kutoka hapa kwetu ambao walishiriki kuwakilisha nchi yetu ya Kenya katika Afrika. Changamoto zimekuwa kwa tukapata mambo ya corona, tukarudi chini. Kaunti zile hutupa mtisha na kutusaidia, pia wakarudi chini kidogo, lakini wakati huu inaonekana wanaamuka.
Leo tumekuwa na sherehe, ilikuwa ya kurudishia Mungu shukrani for the far ametutoa kutoka Januari mpaka hapa, ametubeba na tunashukuru. Kulingana na uchumi sahi umesoroteka sana. According to tumetoka COVID-19, hakukuwa na races na some of wanariadha wengi hawakuwagi wameajiriwa, wanakuwaga wanajitegemea, so hakukuwa na races. Unapata some of wanariadha wetu hawana chakula, wengine pia mavazi ya kukimbia hawana. Challenges sana yenye tunapitia sana ni kukosa support.
And those are just some of the stories that are trending at this hour. But to bring you up to speed stories that we are following up for you in our newsroom for our bulletins at 6:30 p.m. Look Up Tarifa and 8 p.m. Look Up News. We will be looking at the by-elections, Bungoma by-elections, the senatorial elections that have been held today. And the polling stations are closing any time from now. And the counting process is set to begin. We'll be bringing you up to speed with the results as they start streaming in. Remember, this is a by-election that has attracted about 11 candidates who have been on the ballot, and of course attracting a UDA candidate, an Azimio candidate, as well as a Ford Kenya candidate. So it's a story that we are following closely. Our reporter Henry Tende is on that beat and will bring you up to speed. Remember, the seat fell vacant following Moses Wetangula being sworn in as the Speaker of the National Assembly. And of course, we'll be following up on the other coming by-elections in the country as well. But as of today, this is a story that is top on our days of the story, top on our highlights, and we'll be keeping an eye on. And as well, we'll also be looking at, of course, Your Opinion Matters, which is a segment that comes to you every single day right here on Look Up TV, and it is an opportunity for your voice to be heard on key national issues in the country, and as well keeping up with what's on the business front, as well as some sporting action, and just to know where we are at as far as the World Cup is concerned in Qatar. But this is Look Up TV. Thank you so much for watching. I am Nelima. I appreciate you, and continue watching Look Up TV for other programming. Have a pleasant afternoon.
A very small percentage of people can protect what the future holds. Mahiga Homes has a track record that